This podcast is brought to you by our amazing supporters over at Patreon. Visit patreon.com/dissectingthe80s to find out how you can get more than 25 bonus episodes of this show. Great films like Die Hard, Dirty Dancing, Top Gun, Halloween, Footloose, the Golden Girls at Walt Disney World television special, which is not a movie.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Thing, E.T., Who Framed Roger Rabbit, so much more. You get all those instantly, and you can listen to them in your favorite podcast player. You don't have to learn a new one and all that fiddly nonsense. Visit patreon.com/dissectingthe80s to learn more. Welcome to Dissecting the 80s. I am Tripp Lano, one half of the Mega Podcasting Powers, and with me, as always, making his favorite Spuary choice for 2025, the Macho Man.
Andrew Lano. I thought there was going to be some movie-specific reference in there. I was surprised. Pretty sure he didn't get pushed out a window. I don't know. I thought.
Well, let me peel back the curtain here and tell you a little secret. For like 3 years now, I haven't come up with it in advance.
Oh. And
part of the high wire act for me of the podcast, the little challenge that I give myself, is I start talking and there's just no net underneath me. I mean, it's a recorded podcast. It's not like I can't just live. Like hum and fix it. It's not like it's live. But I pretty much always one take it, I feel like. And I never have the idea before I start saying the beginning parts where I say my name and then with me as always. Okay. So you got a dud. I feel like that's fine. But yeah, that's the reasoning for your not getting. He's never been pushed out a window, as far as I know. The Macho Andrew is because I didn't do it in advance.
I just was like, oh, it'll be something Catwoman related.
I mean, that was a good one. That was aggressively a good one. But you did say your name, right? Before we did that.
Andrew Lano. If I didn't, there you go.
Okay. It is, of course, the not sweatily named at all favorite Spuary, the month where we bring you our favorites. We've got Andrew up first since his birthday is first in February, then me, and then over on the Patreon, we will be bringing you an episode on a movie we've talked about on this podcast, probably cumulatively the length of an entire episode in chunks, but we will be doing a full-length episode on the we're completing 2 film franchises this month. My pick will complete a trilogy we have not finished yet. I'll save that for the end of the episode. It rhymes with Smack to the Future. And over on Patreon, we will be doing Vegas Vacation, rounding out the Vacation quadrilogy.
We haven't done the original, or
we definitely did the original.
We haven't done the train one, the third one. I thought we did the train one. Or did I just watch?
We have done Christmas Vacation, European Vacation,
I'm talking about
Vacation.
Smack to the Smoocher.
The train one is my pick for favorite.
I thought did I just watch that after I watched the second one?
Almost certainly, yes.
I was like, I remember talking about it, but I probably just brought it up as we did the show.
We almost certainly, at the end of our Back to the Future 2 episode, talked about my problem, which is that they run right into each other. And then on TBS or whatever, it would always be like, coming up next, Back to the Future 3. And so they'd be like, he's in 1885 and he's alive. And then it'd be like, bah, 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 and then it would start the movie. And so I would just, roll right in. This is a problem I've actually been having with my wife is I was like, oh, we're going to do Back to the Future 3 for the podcast. Have you ever seen those movies? And she was like, no. And I was like, well, I think maybe I should watch Back to the Future with you and then go until you don't want to do it anymore. And then I'll watch 3. But like, I'm pretty much going to have to watch all 3 of them. They're like one movie to me.
It's like a Kill Bill.
Oh, anyway.
Or what Wicked, I assume, will feel like when that comes out after the longest intermission in the history of theater.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty preposterous to me that they are not like rolling that out this April. I find that incongruous.
Especially because it's
why didn't you just film them?
It's basically done already.
Allegedly, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It seems very dumb and bad to me, but what do I know? I was also just bitching about this with a bunch of people of just like now movies are doing the television thing of waiting too long between their sequels with this Wicked thing of just like Stranger Things season 5, 6, whatever one we're coming up on.
I think 5.
I feel like the last one happened in like 2018. Like it's like it happened
pre-Panini.
It was like it was so goddamn long ago. Like I don't remember any of it. And then my wife and I started being like, okay, let's see if we can get it together. Like between the two of us, like what do you remember? Like you'll say a thing, I'll say things, and then maybe like we'll jog each other's memories. And we cobbled together like. Didn't they like get in a janky plane and fly to Russia?
Well,
we both found that really stupid. Yeah. But just like it's like way too much fucking. I know there was a writer's strike and all that, but just like everything takes too goddamn long to come out now. Just pay artists.
But also, like
do
the
cool
writer's
shit.
strike. I don't think we can blame the writer's strike for the fact that they waited 2 years to start shit on Stranger Things.
Right.
Like,
right.
Keep writing. Just like, ooh, I have the ideas.
Right.
Just keep writing.
Right. Anyway, this is back-to-back Tim Burtons, back-to-back Paul Reubens here on the show.
There's three people back-to-backs. Well, actors.
Oh, who else is in
Penguin's mom is Simone.
Oh, that's right.
And
That's right.
Jan
That's
Hooks
right. She looks
is in
very
both
different.
Pee-wee and this.
That's right. Jan Hook's really funny in this. I wish she had a bigger part.
Right.
Really a bummer to me that she and the guy who looks like Richie Rich's dad only have that one scene. Anyway, we watched Batman Returns, and you know what that means.
We gotta go back. We gotta go dissect the 80s. It's my queer awakening. It's something about my queer awakening.
When the mecha powers explode.
I'm talking about the 80s. Oh, yeah.
Great Scott!
Cream of the crop. Oh, yeah.
Mega powers, yeah!
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
It's funny that we started off talking about Wicked, because the opening of this movie, John Chu. No,
John Chu.
Shit, is that his name?
John M.
Okay.
Chu, but
he
I don't know
literally
if he uses the M.
My man just literally was like, snip, paste.
Well, that's what,
okay,
to be
cool.
fair, that was what's in the musical already.
It is, but the way that it is shot and framed in this is almost identical to how they frame it in the movie.
Okay, a little
with
bit.
the like people running down the hallway, and then one person being like, "Sir, you have to go in there," and then like Paul Reubens walking in and then looking horrified at his penguin child. I will say what I thought was kind of genius here is like I watched this movie a couple years ago at Christmas time as just sort of like, oh, I'll throw that on. I'm looking for something a little different. I remember our mom hating this movie.
One of
so
her
like
like bottom 5 movies, I think.
Oh yeah, just like pure hatred. But I didn't remember even having watched it recently. I was like, do they show the baby penguin? And it's really kind of genius not to show the baby penguin. Because if you did show the baby penguin, people would be much sadder about this.
Well, I mean, I feel like it would have ended up being like a beetle baby situation, or
oh yeah, sure,
or something else recently had a horrifying baby in it. I can't remember what.
Beetle Baby is a good pull.
Yeah, there was just another one. Was it maybe Terrifier? I've never seen any of those.
I have not seen any of those.
They're not made for me. No thanks.
Yeah. But we get the Wicked scene here with the penguin's birth, and then we see Penguin in like a cage in front of the fireplace, and he tricks a cat into getting close enough, and then he eats the cat.
We don't know what he does with the cat.
And the cat does like a
it's nothing good.
Sound
Nothing
effect.
good happens to the cat. We can safely say.
I will say, for the sake of like what we're doing here, shouldn't he be like reaching into a fish tank?
Yeah, probably. But they were just probably like, let's cat and bird.
Yeah.
I guess it's less reasonable that they would have put a fish tank on the floor next to the cage.
Well, I was thinking like you'd have to see just like the flipper going into the fish tank, and then he gets put in the cage.
Oh, okay, yeah, I like that.
Like he ate all the fish, and they were like, okay, and we got again not improving the movie, just a weird thing.
Just
I was
a difference,
of, to
really.
Be clear, this is not an edit, just something I was thinking of. But I really love Paul Reubens playing this like fully silent role where he just like has a pipe and nods his head a lot.
I don't think it's a pipe. I think it's the cigarette holder.
Oh, is it a cigarette holder? Okay, I thought it was a pipe, but maybe I'm thinking of a different character. they throw the baby in the river.
Well, they do a great like
into the river.
Him and the wife through the park. They're like clearly sprinting with the baby buggy
Carriage.
pram. It's more like a pram, like sprinting, and then they see another couple and they quickly like walk like a normal pace and say Merry Christmas to each other,
Yes.
and then keep sprinting. Like it's some great
Yes.
physical comedy. This movie's very
And
funny.
it is also it is very funny. It's also Christmas Eve in this opening shot, and then it becomes Christmas Eve again at the end of the movie. It's like it's just fully Christmas.
Yeah.
This movie. Not an original observation here, but just something I want to like pull up here as we're about to, because like we're already getting a lot of Burton-ness, but it really comes in right here. And I want to just pause. It's like, okay, they took a shot with Tim Burton. They gave him this Batman movie. It's got all Burton fingerprints all
The
over
first
it, but
Batman,
it's still like 1989. But it's a massive cultural touchstone, like an enormous success, merchandising out the ass. The movie makes a ton of money, whatever. They're like, okay, we're gonna run it back for a sequel. They get Burton back. They get Danny Elfman back. Keaton's back. They add Danny DeVito, who's like a very talented actor. Obviously, he's not like a superstar, but incredibly talented. Christopher Walken, I would say similar, but maybe
Michelle Pfeiffer,
whatever type of thing. Michelle Pfeiffer, who is huge, like with all these pieces, and then Burton's like, also, I'm gonna set it at Christmas. He sounds like Mickey Mouse in this impression. That's just what we're going with. I don't know what he sounds like in real life, but that's what Tim Burton is.
He's the voice on the answering machine, the boyfriend.
Oh, he's sort of like this, kind of like a Fred Armisen character. Anyway, and he's like, also, I'm gonna set it at Christmas time. And the Warner Brothers merchandise people are just like drooling. They're like, oh my
foaming
god,
at the
we're
mouth.
doing Batman and Christmas. And then they're like, all right, go ahead and make the movie. And clearly there is no studio interference whatsoever. This is purely just an artist getting more or less carte blanche and a big old blank check. And then he turns in this fucking German expressionist nightmare.
To be fair, he's always done
like,
German. Like German expressionism is just like his blood, basically.
I agree, but this I feel like is really aggressively like somebody said this, and I thought it was really interesting. Batman is like the original movie. The scale is very vertical, and in this one, the scale is a little bit wider for some reason. Like a lot of it feels a little wider, but there's a bunch of shots in this that are just like straight out of Metropolis, the movie from the late 20s.
The whole
30s,
thing feels like it's art. It's all that art.
Yes,
beautiful Art Deco style. Like
yes, the like big brutish dudes around the Christmas
giant
tree.
statues
That's supposed to be
of
like
hunky
Rockefeller
men.
Center. Yes, yeah, but like. They turned in this thing, which is like
I think the studio was
like,
aware because they put like Danny DeVito was forbidden to talk about his makeup, and like when his makeup got leaked, the studio hired private investigators to figure out like what the fuck happened. Like so they were aware,
right,
kind of.
I mean, they had read the script, and I'm sure they were seeing stuff. I'm not saying that like they got handed a finished product and were like, whoa, what? But clearly they were like, look, we just got to go with this guy. We know what it is. I'm just like imagining the world where you're like you're this executive or this merchant, you're in the merchandise arm of Warner or whatever it is, and it's like, well, I'm not sure, but the last one's a hit. You just gotta trust the guy. Like that's he's an artist. He's gonna make his art. Like it worked out last time. You gotta trust the guy. And then you get the final product, and Danny DeVito is like one of the 5 grossest characters that I can remember in a mainstream big movie. Like, I mean, there's grosser characters in film by the bucket load, but like probably not too many in a 200 or what the equivalent of a $200 million movie is today. And like it's grim and bleak, and like even Batman is kind of more of an anti-hero than usual, and is like just the morals of this movie are yucky. Like it's just like it's got a message to it. I'm not saying it's yucky in my personal beliefs. I'm saying it's
I would say they're specific morals.
I'm just saying it's like this movie is like pretty anti-capitalist and is also like pretty, aggressively against the Max Schreck character is like a naked power grab guy who could be a stand-in or analog for like any number of people today or then. The Danny DeVito character,
probably both. Maybe the same person,
yes,
both.
Yeah. And so it's just like it is just a much, much messier movie than 1989 Batman, which is like got weird shit in it, but is like the Joker comes, he fucks up Gotham, Batman says, no, go away. And then he gets rid of him. Right. Like it's like a pretty like compared to 89 Batman. This is fucking nonsense.
It's also
crazy.
I know McDonald's was particularly pissed about this movie.
Oh, yeah. This movie having a McDonald's tie-in is insane. They must have been
toys,
furious.
And McDonald's was like, hey, what?
Yeah.
And then Danny DeVito's Penguin is the only character in the movie whose Kenner figure is not based on the movie. They were like, he's too gross. We're not doing that. We're just going to repaint a different Penguin we have.
Yeah. So it doesn't look like him at all, right?
No.
And it doesn't have the monocle.
Yeah, I think it looks very much like the
cartoon?
Well, I don't know if Batman the Animated Series had happened yet. I think that was 93.
Okay, but it does look a lot like that,
Yeah,
right?
it's basically with the same art they used for the Penguin for Mayor posters.
Yes.
Those buttons show up
to be clear,
in auctions all the time. Every time I see the ad, like, oh, look at this prop auction. Like, let me just
oh yeah, I always
flip
click
through it.
Yeah.
There's always fucking Penguin for Mayor buttons and banners.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of them, so they probably went in different people's garages. And to be clear, like, I think this movie is pretty good. Like, I'm sure you like it more than I do, but I think this is like a real, it's a strongly made movie. It's like, we talked about this in a previous Burton episode, but I used to be pretty anti Tim Burton. Like his bag is just completely not my bag.
Yeah.
Like he and I like aren't into the same shit, and that's fine. But in an era where like there's so little artistic expression in major motion, like blockbuster motion pictures, this is like catnip to me. Where it's just like I don't even like it, and I like it.
It's also
because
like,
I'm just
like I always say, for a while, I didn't like Tim Burton movies. I would see them out of like a weird obligation and be like,
yeah, he's your guy. Yeah.
But
I went through the same thing with Kevin Smith, who just was my guy, and I was like, well, I got to see all his movies. And after a while, I was like, you've gotten too weird and too dumb for me. I hope that you keep making movies, but I don't want to see this.
Yeah, although you know what, I think some of them would like people were like Miss Peregrine, like a bunch of friends were going. I was like, yeah, I'll go, whatever. I don't really need to see it. Yeah. And then Dumbo, I was just more excited to like go see a Disney movie or whatever, and like that's not a great movie. It's not a great movie.
Yeah. Well, it's just like the original cartoon of Dumbo is like 71 minutes of animal
do the
abuse.
original plot
like,
in the first like half of the movie, and then the best is someone was talking about how Tim Burton never cast non-white people in his movies. It's not great. Someone was like, "Oh, Jenna Ortega is like one of his first major non-white actors, whatever." And someone was like, "Oh, except for the daughter in Dumbo." And I was like, "The daughter in Dumbo is fully fucking white." And then I realized, no, she is not a white girl. They just pale skinned her and straightened her hair.
Oh,
did you see The Last of Us?
Yeah.
So Joel's daughter in the first episode,
his actual daughter. Yeah.
She is the Dumbo girl.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
I definitely never
what?
saw. I have almost entirely avoided the Disney live actions. My wife and I just went to see Mufasa because I get to go to the movies for free now, and she wanted to see it. And anytime my wife wants to see a movie, I say yes because she's just less into it than me, and mostly it's me picking. So it's like, yeah, if you want to see something, we're in. Yes, of course. Like I love going to the
Lady
movies.
and the Tramp was pretty cute. And
That
Cinderella.
one is the one I heard the best things about, but I just never saw any of them. I don't think. I watched the scene that Christopher Walken in The Jungle Book where he sings "I Want to Be Like You."
Jungle Book is so delightfully bad.
This you have seen it.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's been a while, but
The scene where, and you can probably just find this on YouTube, the scene where Christopher Walken as King Louis, who in this version is like
Gigantopithecus,
27 feet tall. Yeah, it's like a King Kong-ish size great ape or whatever type of.
I don't know if it's a cryptid or a real thing that did exist at one point.
It looks like a giant version of an ape that exists now. The ones with the big jowls.
the orangutan.
I'm saying ape. It might be a chimp. Yeah, orangutan. Okay. I never know which. I'm bad at knowing.
I don't know that one. I'll tell you the monkey breed usually.
Primates. But. Yeah, but anyway, him singing "I Want to Be Like You" in the
singing is
pure
generous.
Christopher Walken fashion. Well, yeah, he's doing Hollywood sing talking, but they're like, "I want to be like you," and like again, I'm doing a very bad Christopher Walken. I'm aware. I'm not saying it's great, but it's like very much worth watching. Anyway, back to this movie. Unless you have more that you were dying to get off your chest.
Cinderella is my absolute favorite. And it's like several blank spaces before I get to another one, but I thought Lady and the Tramp was pretty cute.
Yeah. There's a lot of shots in this movie that are like, oh man, that's such Burton stuff. But the wicker pram floating into the mouth of the cave, and it looks like a mouth, or mouth of the pipe of the sewer, but it looks like a mouth, like eating, that has like these jagged edges on it. Just like exactly his shtick, just looks fantastic.
It's also just such it's such an engaging opening sequence that like on paper sounds boring. Like
right.
Danny Elfman's score setting the scene for you.
Right, but it's not necessarily a new score. It's the Batman score that we're mostly familiar with.
I think
right?
so.
Like there's some flourishes.
I think there's some flourish, but yeah.
But the heart of it is like something that we've heard before, which is fine. Yeah,
I love his Batman. His Batman and his Spider-Man.
It rules.
When he does superheroes, he does them really well.
Right, I agree. I mean, I am like not Elfman the Man. I am definitely not a fan of his musical stuff. I can be hit or miss on. I think he can be a little samey. To be fair, you can say that about John Williams too, who's my guy.
Yeah,
but when he hits, it's great. I mean, a lot of his stuff is very good. We get.
I'm the same age as the Penguin, which like very much upsets me.
Oh, really?
It's just 33 years later.
Well, you take better care of yourself.
I do.
More Tim Burton Christmas stuff. The man likes to sprinkle it in there periodically. And we get some Penguin POV, which is interesting.
With his little flipper hands.
You see the gloves. Yeah. And then I know that it's a movie and this is a dumb question, but like, how is there an abandoned zoo in Gotham? How is that part of this city? Well, like, how do they have a zoo and then it has become decrepit and no one took the animals out? The penguins just got left behind?
Well, I think the idea is that like Gotham is not a great city. Like, you never see the glittering avenue on Gotham.
Right.
Like there's no Times Square in Gotham that's like a little nicer than the rest of it.
It's Crime Alley is one of several.
Yeah. You have Crime Alley A, B, El Alo de Crimo.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a very funny shot in the recent episodes of is it called the Harley Quinn show?
I haven't caught up. It's Harley Quinn. I think it's Harley Quinn. Just
okay. Well, they live in Gotham, but they go to Metropolis, and in the show, they're just literally across the river from each other. And so the Gotham side of the river is black, and then as you float across, it becomes pristine. Yeah, but it's literally like split down the middle, and then Metropolis is like a gleaming city of the future.
Metropolis is a nice place to live. Gotham is. I think people aspire to get out of Gotham. It goes Metropolis, Gotham, and Bloodhaven are like the ranking of places.
Even so, I'm just like, it's just like, so imagine like, it seems like it's doing much better now, but like when we were younger, Camden, New Jersey, not doing that great. Could have been your Gotham analog.
Oh
perhaps.
yeah.
Like, imagine the aquarium goes out of business and they're just like, well, we're leaving the sharks here. Bye.
Well, I don't know that.
And then Sharkman moves in.
Animals. It seems like just the penguins.
No. Just the penguins. That's what I'm saying. Who was like, fuck these penguins? That's what I want to know.
To be fair, they also have that like underground amphitheater for the penguins for like what I'm assuming is a penguin
it's like a show. Yeah.
So maybe they just were all hiding down there.
Yeah, no, maybe.
Which apparently penguins do because there are real penguins in this movie. There's mechanical penguins.
There are some real penguins
and people in suits because penguins want to follow a leader. But they said
Oh, interesting.
When they were like rapping and like making like trying to find all the mechanical penguins, they're like, oh, I can't find this one, and then they found one, and there was a little penguin just snuggled up to it, like he had hidden away with this mechanical penguin and was just like cuddling. So I think penguins just like to do that.
They were just being little buds.
Yeah,
they were just being cuddle buddies.
That's how that because they had to follow a leader. That's what they would do. The penguins like loved to do that, and then weirdly enough, this morning when I opened Instagram, got a reel about like the real penguins in this movie, how they all had their cute little like the like rocket and the helmet they wear is made of plastic, and they like loved wearing it. They like loved to wear them. They lived
that's great.
Wherever they were on set was basically like drag queen levels of air conditioned to like almost freezing. They had
it makes sense.
2 40-foot trailers with pools, and then outdoor pools and ice and fresh fish. They were treated very well.
There was a really fun, I don't know where you would find it now, but there was a really fun documentary. SeaWorld in Orlando opened like a new penguin ride that had like a new habitat for the penguins. Cool. And there was a very funny bit of it where they were like moving the penguins from the old place to the new one. They like put them on a truck and moved them over, and then they like opened the truck, and like you said, like penguins like to follow a leader. They were all just like, you can hear like the people talking, watching the monitors, being like, all right, come on, just somebody go, and then they'll all go, come on, and then finally one brave penguin just like starts waddling into the right place, and then suddenly it's just like a whoosh of penguins coming out of the truck, of all just like into our new habitat we go.
There's a show called I think it's called The Aquarium. It's on Animal Planet because they had like the zoo, and then they had other one, but just like behind the scenes of an aquarium, which is nice to see. But the one thing you don't think about is that kind of shit where it's like, we have these sea lions and we have to train them to use the elevator because when they have veterinary appointments, they have to get on the elevator. So there's a whole like half an episode of them training the sea lions to like bounce their way up into the elevator.
Okay, now move to the back, stare all the same direction. You got to learn all this.
Give them a boop and a fish.
Yeah. So Walken is pitching this power plant. He's in a meeting with these high-powered execs, the mayor of Gotham, a bunch of other people. I guess he's the high-powered exec.
Yeah.
And then they're doing the Christmas tree lighting. So we're introduced to Vicky Vale, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, who's unbelievably good.
Vicky Vale.
Selena Kyle. Sorry, Vicky Vale's the girlfriend in the first.
Yeah,
Batman.
she's the report. Vicky Vale's the reporter in the Batman universe, and Michelle Pfeiffer was up for the role but didn't get it.
Okay. Interesting. So we introduced to her, and she's like in full mousy, like librarian
tweed, oversized brown tweed.
Right. Her hair is like in a messy bun with some of the pieces, astray, whatever. But this is clearly like a honk honk awooga when she takes the glasses off and shakes out her hair situation.
Well, she also puts on makeup
this before. Yes, that's
in this
true.
scene, she's not wearing any makeup at all.
Yeah. Well, she's probably wearing a lot of makeup that makes it look like she's not wearing any, is my guess. But she tries to like sort of interject on this pitch. Walken gets really pissed, but is like doing the like calm, shitty version of being mad. Mm-hmm. And then, although I did write down here, Mousy Pfeiffer meow. So I guess
it's Michelle Pfeiffer, and it's 92 Michelle Pfeiffer. So like,
yeah, exactly.
You can only hide so much.
Yes, yeah. And we are introduced here to Christopher Walken's son.
Perfect casting.
Who, yes, but also clearly they told him to do a Walken impression, and I just like. It's completely insane that they chose to do that. That, like, of course he would talk like him somewhat, although I don't know if his real kids do. But Walken has such a very specific way of talking, not saying anything that anyone listening to this podcast doesn't already know.
Well, also, I've heard it said that it is very, you don't do it on a movie set. If you're on a movie set with Walken, you do not do a Walken impression.
Right, of course. That's, like, very disrespectful.
Yeah. It's just funny that they were like, we're going to do it.
Right. And like later, when
Go,
the son
Dad.
tries to tell Dad, go. And it's just like a perfect
My doll does not like
Yeah.
ghosts.
Yeah, exactly. Dad, we're going to be late. You know, that whole thing. And so
This penguin
they
is rather
see this-
spooky.
There's so many goons. So they go down to give the speech. Vicky, God damn it, Selena
Did you write
realizes
Vicky
that
in your notes? Is that what happened?
I think what my brain might be doing is crossing the name of our grandmother's cat in as just like cat. I don't really know. I did write Selena all throughout.
Not even her most recent cat. That's like a 20-plus-year-old cat who fucking hated me.
That's but it hated everyone. But that's the only cat I remember.
Me specifically.
No, it hated everybody. That cat and I hated each other.
That was different.
It was fine.
But the cat specifically didn't like me, I remember.
Anyway, she realizes, oh no, he forgot his speech. I'm going to get yelled at for
She
this.
plays
she's
Selena
like
Kyle so well. She's like talking to herself under her breath, even though she's alone in the room. She's like clearly like, I cannot be perceived or heard in any way, and then realizes the notes are there and goes and runs to try and get them.
I will say one of my minor quibbles with this movie, and again, I mostly like this movie. I spoiler, I'm going to recommend it. I think it's a good movie. Does mousy Selena Kyle at like a perfect 11 out of 10. Catwoman is like, I don't know, even higher than that. Like it's
She
like
broke the knob off.
She broke yeah. But like then Danny DeVito Penguin is also like an 11 out of 10. Christopher Walken with this Max Schreck also, by the way, the most overt nod to
German expression.
Fact, yes, is like the actor who played Nosferatu, and also this movie does borrow quite a bit from Nosferatu.
Did you see that one, by the way?
Like I did. I think it's like cool. I didn't like the movie. If that makes sense. Like I think it's really.
It's just I was like, I don't know if I want to pay. I was like, I'll pay for Wicked. I don't know if I want to pay for Nosferatu.
You like his movies more than I do.
I do.
Like I think
because he's the Vivitch, right?
I think he's. I think he's like a really very talented guy. I hope he gets to keep making movies. That he gets this kind of unfettered access because like no one gets that anymore, and I think it's needed.
Yeah.
But I don't think I really like any of his movies as movies. I think they're interesting. I think they're well made. I like a lot of the vibes and stuff, but none of them have
I
worked
thought
for
The
me,
Lighthouse
which
was
is
interesting.
fine. Yeah, I never even watched it. I watched like 10 minutes of it, and I was just like, I'm not going to like this movie. I'm just not going to do this for 2 hours or 90 minutes or whatever the hell it is. So
the Vivitch I liked. I liked the Vivitch a lot, and I didn't see The Northman, which I think is him too, right?
Yes, it is.
Because I didn't realize there was magic in it until too late. Apparently, there's magic. In it.
So yeah, I liked a lot of the production design and the practical effects and stuff. Like a lot of Nosferatu worked for me, but I just didn't like the movie very much.
Okay.
So I did. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so my one beef here is like, she's at like a 13, DeVito's at like an 11, Walken's at like an 11, and then Keaton, who I think is good at playing both Bruce Wayne and Batman, but he's at like an 8. And even though that worked really well in Batman, where like he was an 8 or a 9.
Joker.
The Joker. There's too many people operating at a higher level than him, and I feel like they needed to figure that out in some way. And I don't know what it is.
I
but
will
it's
say
just like,
I do feel like Walken is one notch below DeVito.
Okay, but then that puts Walken at a 10.
Yeah,
that's
what
I mean.
I think it's definitely DeVito and Pfeiffer are like the highest.
Yes,
and then Walken. And then, a blank space or so, and then Keaton. In terms of energy.
And to be clear, like, I like all of these performances, and it mostly all works, but I do think that there's a little bit of a problem in that, and just that, like, Batman, the central character of the movie, you would think, based on the title, although it's really not Batman for the
There's a reason that
movie.
The three of them are the poster.
Right. But it's just very interesting to me that like he's playing this really big and it's not big enough. Anyway, so we're giving the speech. This giant present rolls in, and the mayor's like, "Oh, nice work," and that wasn't me.
And the spooky clown gang attacks.
Yes, and so I gotta be honest. This is a thing I think is like really missing in the Batman lore, at least to me, a casual observer. And if it exists, I would genuinely like a recommendation.
Themed costumes.
So if you know of it, no. Where are the goons coming from? Is there like a goon school? Is there an agency? Like, how is this working? That like there's an unlimited supply of goons. They all are like totally down to just be whatever.
Well, I think that speaks to Gotham's crumbling infrastructure. That there aren't enough jobs.
I'm just saying.
For people.
Wouldn't you enjoy this 10-issue comic book run about that topic, like crumbling Gotham? Like the reason why there's so many goons and people are turning to crime is because Gotham is crumbling and what it looks like.
Yeah,
I feel like I'd like that.
I want the Monarch staffing agency of goons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I just want to know, like
someone comes in who's like 8 feet tall and like really skinny limbs, and they're like, "You have to go to the Joker. I don't make the rules.
Yeah.
You're a clown. Get out of here."
Yeah, but Penguin also has clowns.
So not normally. So typically in Batman things,
right.
I play a lot of the video games. Rather, I play the video games a lot, and I know some comic stuff. But like typically, it's Joker and Harley people wear clown costumes, and then Penguin people tend to wear like nice suits, like they're like mobs, like mafiosos, or they wear like parkas.
Yeah.
So
no, I've played all those games too. And then like the Riddler's people have a vibe.
They're the Riddler in the games. He just takes up random people, so they don't wear. They're his informants, so they don't wear uniforms because they're secret.
Yeah. But I just would love to see. It's because it's like. Do these people have like families? Like, does this guy that the Penguin shoots later, the kind of Pavarotti looking gentleman, does he have like, is there like a deleted scene where he like comes home and he's like sitting, the wife made pot roast and the 2 kids are there and they're like, Daddy.
No, the deleted scene is where she gets the phone call from Penguin HR being like,
yeah, sure.
Like the end of Austin Powers. Like, ma'am, I'm so sorry.
Yes. But like, I also want to see this guy coming home and just like, and like scrubbing the face paint off, and the wife hands him a beer or whatever. Maybe he's a gay person. His partner. I don't need to make this like Ozzy and Harriet, but just like he gets handed a beer by his partner, and the partner puts the hand on the shoulder and is like, "Tough one," and he's just like,
you know what? I bet Gotham, any houses in Gotham, not apartments. I don't know. There's a lot of houses. I bet houses in Gotham have the Pittsburgh toilet. I bet they all have to come into the basement. Scrub it all off and then come upstairs.
Yeah. You got to have a basement toilet. Yeah. No, you don't want that shit in the house. Yeah. So I'm just, if that exists, if you're a Batman enthusiast out there and there's like a comic book run about like the goons specifically, I would like to read it. So get in. I
think it has, because I would have definitely heard
hit us up on Blue Sky.
I would have totally read that if I had heard about that.
Yeah, same. I just like think this is a very interesting idea and would be like good fodder for something.
Well, I knew there was a DC show about like the people. It was like the people who sell insurance and make gadgets for regular people in the superhero universe.
Oh, sure.
So it was this bubble goes over your car so that nothing will get crushed by falling debris or whatever.
I remember this show I remember ads for this show, but I don't think I ever watched it.
I think Ron Funches is in it, who I love.
Okay. I don't think I ever watched it, but I do remember the ads. Here's an idea that just popped into my head. On top of that, what if there's a union? Here's an idea. There's a goon union.
A goonion?
A goonion. And they're like, punches local 318, whatever. And then there's like, maybe there's a goon strike and all of the villains are like at a table negotiating with the goons.
Wouldn't they just kill them though?
Well, that's the thing. Then they don't have enough goons to do their bidding, so they have to negotiate.
The union, I feel like, stretches credulity.
Well, if there's not enough people to be the Joker's minions, then the Joker can't do his crimes.
Yeah, but
he's got to.
The infrastructure. Gotham is so crumbling that I think a lot of people are lining up to be for the Joker.
Or like, here's an idea: like the Joker starts offering dental, and now the Penguin and the Joker are having a beef
That I
because
love.
the Joker's offering.
I like
dental.
that way more than the.
Well, that's like, and then
But by
the goons
dental,
are like,
it
you know
means
what?
it's one shady back alley guy, like the Asian man in John Wick. It's like
No,
him.
I think like one of these guys has like a very good health plan, and there's like parental leave as part of it. That's what I think. I think like I think Mr. Freeze offers parental leave, and
Mr.
everybody's
Freeze
totally get hired with
would.
Freeze.
He's a
Yeah,
or
I
Bane, honestly.
He's a family man.
Bane. I feel like it's Bane or Mr. Freeze are the two that would definitely be like, you can have,
Yeah,
paternity and maternity paid leave.
yeah. We do 12 weeks here. Like that's what I'm looking for. I think this is a good idea. I think we should delete all this and pitch this. We should pitch this to DC Comics. This is a 12-issue limited series.
I mean, I'm down.
Batman like gets incapacitated and he's out of town, and then because of that, the bad guys get into little petty squabbles and don't take over.
I guess I feel like if Batman wasn't around, then there's a lot bad things happening in Gotham, at least according to media.
Right, but there's a problem because the goons are on strike.
I guess.
Batman is like slipping pamphlets to the goons when he knocks them out. He's like putting a pamphlet in their pocket, and so Batman is organizing the labor.
Okay, so in this scenario, the Joker and Batman and so the Joker and Bane and Harley Quinn are union busters.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah, this is a good idea.
I guess.
You're skeptical,
but again,
it's a good idea.
This
is a funny idea.
Some of them would just get killed.
But that's the thing. Then they start doing a sick out and they're not coming to work, and then there's no minions. You gotta respect your goons. And then there's the goons start going to where they're respected. So now Mr. Freeze is more popular because he's got parental leave.
I just feel like with some of these villains, they just kill people.
I know, but that's the thing. You can't just it can't be all fear-based. There has to be some financial incentive to the crime.
Yeah, the incentive is you'll get the money if I don't kill you.
I'm just saying that's not a great way to retain employees. That's bad. That's bad bossing.
He doesn't have to mention why the position's open when the new goon walks in the door. He just has to tuck the.
I think that's a good
bleeding
question to ask.
leg under the tablecloth.
Is this a new position, or are you backfilling? I'm saying I think there's gold here. I think there's
some good things here that we can work with.
There's a 12-episode series here.
It definitely could be an episode of Harley Quinn. 100%. This feels like an episode of Harley Quinn.
It could be a C or D plot of Harley Quinn that runs throughout the whole season.
Yeah.
Like Joker calls her up and he's like,
you know what
I
it
can't
is?
get
You know
over
what
this.
it is? It's Bane can't get into his portal. So he has to keep calling the help desk.
Yes. Yeah.
I already reset my password.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
It's telling me the new password matches the old one.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Very good.
When you get Bespoke Westwood, you go for it. I love Harley Quinn, the show. It's so good. I need to catch up.
King Shark pops in there and he's like, parental leave, I got 32 kids. It's all right there. Out from this box also pops the great character actor Vincent Schiavelli, previous guest,
Subway
Jesus
Ghost.
Christ, previous Subway Ghost on Ghost.
And Doug Jones.
That's right.
Who I don't think has been on the pod, right?
I don't think so. We get the Pat Higgins as Chief Gordon immediately. The cops are completely useless. And he's like, get the bat signal.
I could put the Benny Hill theme over so many cops in these movies.
Yeah. And the shot of Keaton in his home, I was going to say lair, but I guess that's right. Yeah. Where the bat signal gets bounced off all these mirrors and in through the wall. And then he looks up and it's him reflected. It's
so
just
good.
Fantastic. Yeah. I mean, it's fully Tim Burton, but also feels like a comic book double splash page from the old era.
Or the panels are weird shapes to show the light bouncing around the room.
Yes.
And then the next panel,
and
the
then
next is
it's
a full page. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's cool as hell. It looks like a couple panels of a comic book on the page, or on the screen rather. Just really fantastic. And then this is where we get the great line, "Dad, go!"
Well, there's also
young walking
a sample of the song "Making Christmas" from Nightmare Before Christmas when the Fire Devil's doing his thing.
Oh, yeah,
there's that one, and then you also get "Kidnapped to Sandy Claus" very, very briefly much later. I have it written down.
Oh, interesting. This is before Nightmare Before Christmas.
It's during Nightmare because that movie took 7 fucking years to make.
Oh yeah,
So
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah,
Elfman was probably working. He was working on that while doing Batman and Batman Returns.
yeah. Okay. I also love that the Batmobile has just like a tripper, like to cause people to stumble. There's these stilt walkers, and he just like flips. Like at first you think they're wings, and you're like, oh no, this is just a tripwire that he, it's a metal
Non-lethal,
Larry. Yeah, yeah. Except for the part where he puts a bomb down a man's pants and throws him in a hole. This Batman is very lethal.
But I think it's supposed to be the still non-lethal. I think that's just always a part of Batman canon. I think.
Yeah.
Even though, that dynamite definitely would have killed a guy.
Yeah, 100%. And so the other thing I thought was really funny, I was doing a little bit of research, and apparently on the commentary right around this part where all these clowns are running around, Tim Burton has a quote in there where he says, "I know nobody who likes a clown, and yet there they are."
I love the Batmobile design because it doesn't feel like a real car in any way. Like,
no,
it doesn't. This movie could take place whenever.
Yes, it takes place in a fantasy zone. It's not the world you live in. It's not the world.
It's not
we
a
live
time.
in.
It's not a year. It's
right.
not perfectly placeable.
It's Gotham City. It's not where you live. It's a different place.
Yeah. Well, I meant more like the time. Like, it's not 1992. Yeah. Like, we don't know when this movie takes place. And I think the Batmobile really helps that because it doesn't feel beholden to like trends.
Yes.
Like, as much as I like the Nolan verse Batman movies, the Bat Tank, what did they call it? It had a name. The Rumbler?
Yeah, it did. Something like that.
Like, the Rumbler feels very of the era.
Yes. Well, the Nolan verse is ours. It's not its own, like Gotham in the Nolan verse is like somewhere between Chicago and New York.
Yeah.
It's a real place. So he gets out of the car. This guy grabs Selina Kyle, and Batman shoots his grappling hook right next to him. The guy kind of is like, haha, you missed. And then he retracts it and pulls a perfectly sized chunk of the wall.
I love that you
with
can
it and
see
knocks
the
him out.
outline.
Yes.
Of what's going to come off the wall. It's so great.
It's like the dino damage of the 90s Jurassic Park toys.
Exactly.
A little plug of skin that would come off. So he and Vicky make eyes with each other. There's a pretty good
Selina.
That one I did right, Vicky. He and Selina make eyes with each other.
And she's like a real person, is very like falling all over herself to talk to Batman.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's Batman. Come on. I do love that they're 2 movies in and nobody at this point still has been like, it'd be nice if he could move his head.
The fact that it took 30 years for that to be a thing, or 20 years for that to be a thing in a Batman movie is hilarious.
Well, the other thing I find really interesting about it is when you see Keaton walking from behind, he kind of like bobs his whole body. And I don't know if it's like the costume or the fact that like he can't move his head and it's uncomfortable, but he ends up doing this sort of like Rocky walking to the ring, or like cocky boxer where they like swing their elbows and like kind of like puffing their chest up. It probably is part of that. No, it's great. It looks very funny. She takes the guy's taser and then tases him with it, which is fun.
So we are 2 people that bitch a lot about movies try too hard to be funny. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this movie has almost the same number of jokes as the movies that we hate, but it's just done so well here that.
Well, the other thing that I think too is like the movie's jokes never undercut the tone.
Yes.
And that is the big thing of like the Batman knocks him out and then Selina Kyle kicks him. And then later Selina Kyle gets the taser and she tases him and she's like, serves you right. And it's like, yeah, that feels
And
like,
she
this character.
it's like a flut when she tases him. She's kind of like a flutter, like finally of doing something to somebody.
Right. She's like, this lady is clearly beaten down, and she gets a little chance to stand up for herself, and she likes it. Like it's in character, you know?
Yeah.
Nobody comments on Batman hitting him with the piece of wall by going like, well, that happened. He pulls walls now? Like, that's like that kind of shit is like, no, you have to take the movie as seriously as you want us to take the movie within the movie. That's part of it. I'm sorry.
I agree.
A fucking marvelous miniature here next as we're zooming around Gotham here.
Miniature. Which one? The zoo?
Yeah, it's just fantastic.
Yeah. Walken's Max Schreck gets, booby trapped through a sewer grate and is put in front of the Penguin. He's at the Penguin Show Theater, kind of blackmailing him.
His black spit, which he has for reasons that are never explained whatsoever in the movie, is just
cool.
flying all over the place.
Sometimes the answer is it looks cool.
Yes, yeah.
I think it was basically just mouthwash with food coloring.
I would hope so.
And he just like swirled it and kept some in his mouth. Because I think originally it was supposed to just be a tooth coloring, and he was like, "I have an idea," and so he kept some in his mouth, so that in the take he was like.
I was expecting someone to be like, "Hey, Danny, here's a cup of tar. Could you just swirl this around your mouth?" He chooses the umbrella, which is kind of fun.
Well, he has a collection of umbrellas.
Yes, I'm saying he tries out like 3 or 4, and then he selects one, and then pretends to shoot Walken with it. He's just so disgusting. Like, I can't stop looking at him, but he is repulsive.
I think the only other person I can picture, and I don't think it would be as good, maybe, would be Joe Pesci. As this version. I think Joe Pesci could do the Penguin in this universe.
I think it's worse, but I don't disagree with you that he could do it.
Yeah.
I do think Danny DeVito is like absolutely perfect for this.
Everyone in this movie is perfection and shouldn't be changed. But if we had to, if we're like,
I did write Vicky down the entire time. I don't know why. So about halfway through I switched to Selena. I know that for sure. So I don't know why I did that, but that's part of the reason I got confused. Walken and DeVito become partners here.
Because DeVito's like, hey, I have all the documents that you shredded. I taped back together. Here's sludge from here's toxic waste. Here's your partner's hand. Like, you're mine, buddy. And Walken sees a con-opportunity in the Penguin.
Yes. Con-opportunity is exactly right. And then they shake on it, but DeVito gives him the severed hand of his partner, which is pretty funny.
I love it. And then we get Selena Kyle's apartment. And this apartment and the scene parallels and the transformation scene later is my Roman Empire. Like, that's not even truly my Roman Empire.
It's very, very good. The apartment design is great. It actually looks like a shitty apartment, which is so rare. Like, it's so rare that the apartment actually looks like where this person would live.
Yeah, like the paint has like mold spots in it. It's clearly like they got one color and they painted the whole thing.
I had this exact same sink at more than one, or at least one apartment, perhaps more than one, where it was like this one piece metal unit with the ceramic sink top.
Yeah.
And the dish drainer space. Definitely had this in more than one apartment. The Murphy bed. It's just like,
it all points to like, God, she's sad. Like,
yeah.
She has she's an adult with a Murphy bed, and she has space to leave it down all the time.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't figure out why she would ever put it up. Like, it doesn't make sense for the layout of the room, but it's just sadder when she does.
Yeah. I think it's because this is also, she like, it's, I think she clearly is a crafter. Like, she sews and she probably makes dollhouse furniture and shit. Like,
yeah, she definitely does. Yeah. It's just more space for activities.
But she comes home and says, honey, I'm home. Oh, wait, I forgot I'm not married, which, like, delightful. Of self-aware sadness.
Yeah, yeah. The hello there neon sign, which is like really weird looking. Like it looks like something that was homemade instead of purchased somewhere.
I have it.
Shocker.
And I want one that drops the O and the T. Mine is just one unit, but it's hello there.
Yeah.
It's literally behind you right now. I have to watch. You'll see bright pink. I have to turn it. I turn it on every day for work so that there's just like other lights in the room, and then I have to turn it off when I do the podcast. Otherwise, I'm staring directly at bright pink lights.
Yeah. That's pretty funny.
But I want one that does the hell here and hello there. If anyone wants to send me one.
So Vicky leaves herself a message that's like, you have to come back to the office because
you forgot
this
to do
message and you didn't. Yes, which is very funny to me, like something I would do and be really mad that I had to go back to work for, but definitely something I would do.
Very of the time, I guess. Even though it's timeless, as we were saying, like normally nowadays you could just put a reminder in your phone to pop up and be like, hey, dumbass.
Yeah. If it were me, I would have put that thing in a box in the way of me leaving. That would have been my move. But so she goes back to the office and then she starts digging around for files. In comes Max Schreck and is like, "What are you doing here? Burning the midnight oil?"
You're going a little Shatner. I'll give you that.
I am going a little Shatner.
That's my one note for you. Enjoying it, but a little Shatner.
As I said, not good at it.
Just take out some gaps, that's all.
And so
So here's the thing that does annoy me, is that she's admits to him that she accessed protected files to bone up for this meeting, and then immediately starts talking about, like, clearly she's aware that this is a shady thing, and it's like, girl, why would you tell him you access protected files if you know it's shady?
Right. And she just fully lays out the scam. She's like, your power plant isn't a power plant. It's designed to suck power from Gotham.
Yeah, what is the word?
It's like a power drain. It's a power bank.
Yeah, there's a word. Damn it.
It's like a giant battery, basically. And so...
Capacitor. That's the word I couldn't think of.
Oh, okay. He pretends to push her out the window and then does like, aha, could you imagine if I pushed you out the window? And she's like, oh my God, you scared me. And then while she relaxes, he actually shoves her out the window. And I feel like she screams, but I'd be like, fuck you! Like, it's so much worse that he does it this way.
She like broke every bone in her body going through a bunch of awnings that were for some reason out just... It's not like wide awnings. They're just single... Shrek department store awnings free floating in the middle of the building.
Yeah. And then she lands and a bunch of stray cats come like nibble on her. I don't really know what's happening here. Yes. This scene doesn't make any sense, which is fine, but it definitely doesn't make any sense.
It's magic.
I just feel like the score needs to be a little bit more magical in this moment.
Okay, I get it is more tense than magical.
Yeah, because it's like the one cat seems like it's eating her finger.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Mm-hmm.
So but she comes back to life. It gives her magic powers, I guess. She now knows Kung Fu. And then she goes home, does the same bit again as a zombie.
This fucking scene is like everything to me. Truly everything to me. I can hum this music on command. I've watched it so many times. Like the first time I made my boyfriend watch this movie, I think we were decorating the tree because it's one of my like in rotation tree decorating movies because I don't have to pay attention because I know everything. I was like, this scene came on and I like took the ornament from his hands and I was like, you need to watch this because this is what my mental and emotional breakdown will look like when it happens. So just like watch, if you see me grab the cast iron and I'm not in the kitchen, you should probably get out of the house.
I mostly find this like, I'm like, I get it, but I'm also like, man, you just broke all your shit.
Well, she's shedding her old life.
Right.
No more wimpy, namby-pamby Selena Kyle.
I don't know if you caught this, but the the jug of milk that she drinks out of is like the exact same coloration as a Barbasol can. And I really found that funny. It's like exactly the one from Jurassic Park, the red, white, and navy, dark blue,
red, white, and blue.
Barbasol. Yeah. Yeah. I just found that funny. She destroys all her stuff. Then she gets a leather jacket and turns that into what becomes the Catwoman outfit.
I love this scene. Everything about it. It's a masterclass in acting. And I will always ignore the fact that this jacket does not have enough material to make this catsuit. Probably.
No, yeah. Not even remotely
also,
close.
The vinyl PVC jacket becomes a latex catsuit.
Yeah.
So, like, I will always forgive those two things.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's like nobody would know that. It's fine.
It's also so fun. So, like, as someone who, like, is aware of the kink scene and knows a lot of kink people, I've been around latex. I've seen latex. And to hear them talk about the latex in this movie, I'm like, huh? They're like, she had to get vacuum sealed into it. I was like, no one gets vacuum sealed into latex. You put it on. You baby powder or oil up your body, and then you put it on. You don't have to get vacuum sealed into it. What are you doing?
I think were they trying to say that she's like, it's like so tight she basically was vacuum sealed into it? Because that's what it looks like.
The stories are that she got vacuum sealed into it and could only do takes for a few minutes before she had to be let out. And I'm like, that's not how latex works.
I think they're saying vacuum sealed to imply that it was so tight that she basically couldn't breathe.
Maybe, but that's not what they're saying. But like,
I think this is a case of terminology bothering you.
Yeah, I was like, what are we talking about? Like, that's not.
I don't think they're like literally. We hooked her up to a food saver.
That's what they make it sound like.
Yeah, but like, come on, that's not what they were doing. Meanwhile, after that,
also, the final line.
Happens.
I don't know about you, Miss Kitty, but I feel so much yummier. Peak.
I mean, she's great in this movie. She's great.
She was my queer. When I said my queer awakening, I'm talking about her.
This movie is extremely horny, but it's like very weird horny, which is interesting. I recently watched like 20 minutes of this movie I had seen when I was younger called Don Juan DeMarco, and it's the one where Johnny Depp. Yeah, he thinks he's Don Juan, and his therapist is Marlon Brando, and like it's the politics of the movie regarding mental health are probably pretty bad. But I remember liking the movie, and it was the time when you could like a Johnny Depp performance, and I remember being like, why is it that I like this? And I watched the first 20 minutes and I was like, oh, because I was like 14 and this movie is so horny. It's just the horniest movie. It's just really just very sexually forward, not like porny, not gross, like it's not like full of nudity or anything. Yeah, it's not like it's all full of naked people, but it's just like very, very much Johnny Depp, like, trying to get all these women. Anyway, this movie also very horny, but a different kind of very horny. Very different. Very horny. Fetishy horny.
Yeah. But yeah, this was definitely like one of my, like, every time I watched movies like this, I would always see the men and be like, well, that's a big muscle man. That's not me. At that age, I was like, that's clearly not me.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're talking about. Look at the material, buddy. And then I would see like the Poison Ivies and the Catwomen, and I was like, no, that could be me. I could do that stuff. And
I find that very, very interesting because I obviously, you're queer and I'm not, but like, I never thought I could look like Batman. It's like, I never looked like Batman.
No, but there's a certain kind of othering feeling.
If we were to like lay out all the characters in this movie and be like, which one is most resembling your body type, it's very clearly the fucking Penguin.
Well, I think it's more that there is obviously the associations of like the muscles with masculinity, but there's like a level of masculinity to these superheroes that like I
totally
just even then I was like, that's just not me, man.
Yeah.
That ain't it, man. But the women had this like delightful quality to them because like society says femininity can't be strong. Only masculinity can be strong. So when these women are like whip cracking and then like jump roping with the whip, it's this really great juxtaposition that I'm like, my little brain was like, I don't know why yet. but I identify with this thing.
Yeah, I mean, she fucking rules in this movie. I get it. Like, it's completely reasonable to be like, that person rules and I want to be like that. That is pretty universal to me, but that's cool. I appreciate you sharing.
Yeah. Basically, queer awakenings are either powerful women in film or hot naked men, generally speaking. Those are the two versions of queer awakening, and mine just are usually, oh no, that was this woman, it was this lady performance that I was like, yep,
We cut away from her. We go over to the mayor and a very over-the-top clown person steals the mayor's baby and jumps down a sewer.
People in Gotham take 3 to 5 business days to react to anything that happens.
Yes.
A clown backflips 7 times into frame from presumably from City Hall. Like, we see it there. Grabs the baby, hip checks the mayor, and no one does a goddamn thing. They're like, oh, wow. Yeah.
The Pat Hingle, the Chief Gordon, is there and is just like, someone turn on the bat signal. There's a crime.
Well, okay, has the Batman movie a Batman movie with the bat signal ever discussed what happens during the daytime?
No, I think
what if someone commits a crime at 1 p.m. on a Monday? Like,
right. I think Gotham is like permanently nighttime.
That would be a fun angle for like a bit on Harley Quinn of like, is it ever fucking daytime here?
Yeah. I love the guy like holds the baby up like it's an award and is like, I'll keep this short.
I'm not one for speeches, so I'll just say thanks.
Yeah. And then he jumps down the hole, and then we hear him be like, wait, you're that penguin man. Don't hurt me, please, please.
There's also, I noticed for the first time in a weird edit. So like when he flips into the hole, there's clearly some like digital, or not digital, 92, I don't know, maybe some kind of editing.
There's digital effects in this a couple of times.
There's clearly some kind of like artifacting around him as he goes in the hole. Because I was like, what the hell? So
interesting. Maybe it was like this.
He probably went into like a green screen hole.
Yeah, and they composited him in there. That would make sense. So Penguin rides up the sewer
Penguin
hole,
hath
holding
risen.
the baby. Yeah, and is like, here's your child back. And that's like his grand entrance here. And they're like taking all these pictures. There's like 1,000 cameras flashing, and he's like,
they were
doing
at
the,
a press
light
conference
hurts my eyes.
begin with.
No. I know. But I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying it's stupid. I'm just saying, like, the camera bulbs are start going, and he puts his arms up, and he's just doing the like, the light, it hurts me kind of thing, like very, very Nosferatu-y.
So he goes to the Hall of Records because he says he wants to find out who his parents were.
Mm-hmm. And really what he's doing is compiling a list of all of Gotham's firstborn, which I find very confusing why Bruce Wayne isn't on that list.
I mean, I don't think he's going for adults because, like...
But he takes Walken's kid.
I mean, do you think Walken's kid's like... I think Walken's kid's like 20.
I think Walken's kid is probably IRL like 20 or 22, but he looks 30.
It was the 90s. It was a different time.
He looks like a presidential fail son is what he looks like.
He looks like he'd be back in the background a little out of focus.
Yeah, exactly. Like
a
second
campaign
row
photo. Yeah. Yeah, I assumed there was like a limit. Like he's not going after it because he wants to kill children. That's his thing.
Yeah. Yeah, mostly children. It's also Walken's kid. The Hall of Records is like such a Burton vision of a municipal building.
Giant feather quill pen as he's scribbling.
Yes. Yeah. Just very, very Burton flavor. So he's trying to learn about his past, and they like throw a reporter out, and the reporter very correctly is like, "This is a First Amendment issue. You can't take me out of the Hall of Records." Yeah, and Walken, is like, "What about the man's right to privacy?" Blah blah blah.
And then we get
meanwhile
cut to Batman.
Probably the best 2 jokes here in the Batman part. I think
this
one's
line
visual,
is just
one's words.
Burned into my brain. Like I think I was talking to Mom, and it was like something was supposed to be served cold. And so I went, "Fishy swaz, sir." Because anytime something's supposed to be served cold, that's where my brain goes. It just pulls the little organ levers, and it makes that sound happen in my mouth.
But here's the thing: this little rich boy has had a fishy sauce before. There's no way.
Well, he probably didn't know what it was. It's like when you take a drink of something and it's Sprite, but you're expecting water, and you're just like, "Wah!" Like, Sprite's good, but like if you're expecting water, it's gross.
I guess. I just found it very funny that he's like, "What is this?" It's like, come on, Bruce, you've eaten a fishy slaw before, you little rich boy. Yeah. But the other joke is the visual joke of this fucking fireplace at Wayne Manor is so ridiculous. It's the size of like a tractor trailer's trailer. The one Batman is sitting in the front
Batcave.
of.
Are you talking about later?
No, Bruce Wayne in front of the fire is okay. I got this wrong. Bruce Wayne's in front of the fire and he's watching the Penguin's emergence. Then we go to the Hall of Records. Then we're in the Batcave. Okay,
got it. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
He is firmly in the Batcave at the microfilm.
Yeah.
Or the microfiche.
Yeah. So while he's watching the Joker or the Penguin emerge on TV, the fireplace he's sitting in front of is like 20 feet wide and 9 feet tall.
It's a studio apartment.
And the fire burning in it is like 8 whole trees stacked up. It's like this raging fire, but it would be enough to heat like several houses. I
love it. I love how stupid rich Batman is.
There's these things called like a wood boiler that I have seen like an off-grid people who have like an off-grid property that it's like a huge pit to burn things in that you like then pipe the heat to your house through this thing. That's what this is. It's like you could funnel heat for an entire like several homes out of this. We get the dead parents. We learn that his name
the cemetery is an alley. Did you know? Like, I just love that it's an alley. There's 2 giant brick built. Like, I'm like, what was the shape of this cemetery? Was the cemetery already in a T shape? And like, well, let's just build buildings around it. Like, what happened?
Yeah. It's a good question. It's very much like the Up House.
Yeah. And then he says, "I was their number 1 son, and they treated me like number 2." It's so good.
Yeah. And then we have another meeting between Bruce Wayne and Max Schreck.
Well, the first Catwoman has her outing. She defeats the mugger.
I have that after.
I wrote Catwoman's first outing, and then they have she like beats the shit out of this guy, and she's got this kind of like Mae Westy, like to disarm the men.
Mae West, it's a Mae West dominatrix.
Yes, but it's like again because femininity isn't allowed to be strong. She's using that to like trick these dumb men to be like, "Ooh, go easy. It's my first time." Just kidding. Scratch your face off.
Yeah.
And then the woman who's being mugged goes to thank her, and Catwoman like grabs her face and is like, "You're fucking pathetic." Catwoman out. Backflip.
Yeah.
Which this movie is probably why I wanted to do gymnastics as a kid.
That would make sense.
Always would be my first like sliding door. What if I ever got a what if machine? What would have happened if I was able to do gymnastics as a kid? That wasn't like, give us $500 and we'll put him in a competition. And we're like, what about here's $150 and we let him roll around in the mats to see where he likes it.
So they have this meeting and it's this giant O-shaped conference table.
So
which is really impractical for another reason. Yes. It should be like an M or an X. Like, you know, if it's going to be an ostentatious giant letter,
S.
you'd think it would be. Yes, I said X and I meant S.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or like he should sit in the middle and it could be like a panopticon.
Yeah, but I love that Keaton's like, yeah, I've got a prospectus, and he just hucks this paper across
to like discus it across the room.
But like in the shot, it's just one perfect, and it lands right in front of Walken. But it's like I've watched a bunch of behind the scenes on this. I've never seen it, but like, were there like 28 takes? Because that's not easy to do in the first go. You know what I mean? Like this could easily have taken half a day.
I feel like what they could have done was made like a lazy Susan of the internal, and he puts it on there and like spins the thing.
Yeah, and it would be great also when they ordered Chinese food.
Yes. But But I will say Bruce lets his Batman slip a little bit because he's like, he says like, I don't have a crime boss like Cobblepot. And then Max Shrek gets mad and he goes, Cobblepot controls the Red Triangle circus gang. I can't prove it yet, but I'm going to. And I was like, whoa. You are Playboy, aloof, dumb himbo Bruce Wayne, buddy.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting as well. Selena walks into the room. Max does sort of like a humma.
Confident Selena
Bruce
with her
Wayne
hair
just,
down.
Bruce just starts doing the flirting. There's like a little back and forth with Walken's kid where he, basically is like, we'll ignore her. It's fine.
So apparently Walken was alone when he killed Selena Kyle, but still felt it necessary to tell his child that he committed the crime.
Yeah, of course.
No, don't tell anyone. If you crime, don't tell someone.
He can't testify against his dad.
That's not true.
The Gotham rules, baby.
I mean, yeah, but sure, whatever. But my boyfriend and I have the same rule. Like, if you commit a big crime, do not tell me so that I can have plausible deniability.
Right. We get DeVito in his underwear, and
many DeVito underwear moments.
Yes, but this is the part where I'm like, I don't actually want to see the Penguin naked. Like, I don't want to see what his private parts look like. I'm not.
But there's a morbid curiosity.
But I would love to see the Penguin in like a sumo wrestler underwear where it's like, I just want to know what this body looks like, And I'm sure there are pictures of him behind the scenes, like with the prosthetics and stuff. Although it might have been built into the costumes rather than like applied. He probably
had to put it. They probably made like a leotard that he put on and then his costumes.
Mm-hmm. But, like, I would love to see what the Penguin body... Like, sometimes you see, like, people draw cartoon characters as if they were a real person.
Yeah.
I want to see the relatively detailed...
He's almost got Bob's Burgers body.
Yeah, yeah.
Jelly bean bottom heavy.
Uh-huh. Very strange looking. Very, very weird looking character here.
So Max brings him downstairs to say, hey, we want to make you a mayor. Here's Jan Hooks.
He brings him downstairs by dangling a fish in front of him. And so when he walks in front of all these people, he's like wolfing down a smoked salmon.
It's so good.
It's disgusting.
Our polls show that voters like fingers. So why don't we try putting these gloves on you?
Yeah, this whole sequence with Jan Hooks and the guy who looks like Richie Rich's dad, who then gets his nose bit off.
I love I forgot about that line. That it's so good because the guy makes fun of the Penguin. He's like, not a lot of reflective surfaces in the sewer, and they all laugh. Everyone laughs, and then Penguin goes, "It could be worse. My nose could be gushing blood." And they all laugh, and the guy's like, "Wait, what?" And he bites his nose, which I think specifically Mom hates that scene. I know.
Yeah, she does.
Specifically.
It's always Danny DeVito biting that guy's nose is like the number two sentence about this movie.
Yeah. I love that line. It's I would love to be able to use it in a fight. Not biting the nose, but
so the plan is to depose the mayor and
he says,
Oswald elected.
Elections in November, and is this not late December?
Yes, it's very good. And then of course Max Shrek's like, you let me worry about that. And then
he says, "Stop global warming." I was like, well, I got one good policy. I don't know what one city is really gonna do about it.
But he says, "Stop global warming. We want to make everything ice cold." It's like, now wait a minute.
Start global cooling.
That doesn't fix it.
And Max Shrek is like, you might need to send your goons out into the street. Wink, wink, wink.
Mm-hmm. So, of course, that becomes the plan. It's great shots of chaos and destruction, lots of fire, lots of things smashing and crashing. Really
the campy-ass poodle lady is there.
Yes. And then Catwoman swings in. Have you seen the behind-the-scenes of this mannequin thing? If you out there have not seen the behind-the-scenes footage of her just nailing this mannequin thing, and then the whole crew just being like, yeah! It is awesome. It's really cool.
Because she really learned a lot of whip tricks for this movie. So mostly what you see is her, which I love. But she cracks the head off the three. She prances her way into the department store, and like whip cracks the heads off the mannequins, and then some security guards show up, and of course are dumb men.
Yeah,
and she makes fun of them for that, and they say, "Don't hurt us. Our take home is less than $300." And I was like, "Huh? Dollars?"
I assume that meant $300 a week.
Okay, I thought they were saying $300,000 a year, and I was like,
Yeah,
because she goes, "You're overpaid," and I was like, "God damn right, you're overpaid."
yeah. I assume that meant $300 a week.
Okay, that's better, a little better.
Yeah,
but yeah,
which also explains why so many people are willing to be goons.
Yeah. She goes, "You're overpaid. Hit the road. Crack, crack." Apparently, Michelle Pfeiffer, when she was moving, like 20 years after the fact, she like found the whip in a box, and she was like, "Oh, let me take it outside." So she took it outside and tried to do it, and immediately cut herself in the face, and was like, "And it goes back in the box."
Yeah. I used to be able to do that, and now I just remember doing that.
Yep.
Batman gets into a fist fight with a goon, takes some TNT off of something, and then later puts the TNT on a different goon and kicks him down a hole where he gets blown up.
Probably dies. But yeah, she does.
Probably.
I know the movie's not gonna show it. But yeah, I love Catwoman will jump rope with her whip too. It's this very playful feminine energy that's just fucking great.
There's also a really great comic book energy to this sequence too, of like Catwoman goes to set off a bomb in this place, or to blow up this place rather. So she like opens the panel on the wall and opens the gas line, and the gas bottle is a huge red bottle with gas in 6-inch
not
letters.
Natural gas, not what, it's just gas.
Yeah, not propane. It just says gas, and then she starts
and
she puts a bunch of spray paint in the microwave.
Yeah, the movie / comic book thing of like, if you put a aerosol can in a microwave and set it for 3 minutes, it will explode in 3 minutes.
Yes.
It will do it pretty quickly.
Yeah. You have some time, but not 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's whatever time you set the microwave for is when it will explode. She does a billion front flips and goes meow, and this beautiful explosion happens behind her.
Really cool, yeah. DeVito gets yet another umbrella, and it's like, here's another thing I want to see on my goon show. Give me the umbrella inventor guy. Who's inventing all these umbrellas? Is there just like a hidden room in the back where they got a guy chained up and he's like, "I just want to go see my family, please, Mr. Penguin, please."
I think they each have their own guy. Like, I feel like I remember this from something that like the Joker has his science. Like, they each have their own science guy that does their thing.
I would watch a show about those guys.
Also, I love the Penguin's line because Batman tries to like be upfront with him, and he goes, "The direct approach. I admire that from a man in a mask." And I was like, everyone in this movie is gay and sassy.
Yes.
I love Catwoman. This is where they fight, or no?
I have stabbed something about the umbrella, and then stab with something.
Yes.
Kitty litter KO. Okay.
So yeah,
this is where they're fighting on the rooftop.
They fight on the roof, and again, she uses her femininity to be like, "Oh, don't hurt me, I'm a woman," and then like, "Wha-cha, wha-cha."
Yeah, she stabs him in the like ribs area with one of her sharp fingernails. He throws acid at her when he's hanging off the roof.
She says napalm, which like. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
She says Batman napalmed my arm. I was like, I've always just took it at face value.
Yeah, I just thought it was like magic movie acid. And then he punches her, and she lands in a very conveniently passing dump truck full of kitty litter.
Penguin announces his bid for mayor, and then goes upstairs where Catwoman is.
Meanwhile, Keaton is back home in the Batcave, like sitting down, and seeing him sitting down in this costume is so funny
because he sits like a dad.
But it's like he's got one glove off. He's like sitting there exhausted. It's like you could see him just like cracking a cold
he's
one.
He's spreading and like hand on the leg. He's a dad.
He's tired as hell. Yeah, it's just very funny looking. It looks so uncomfortable to wear this suit.
So yeah,
meanwhile, as this stump speech is happening, one of the reporters runs to the back of the room, picks up a phone, and gives a Leslie Knope-esque like, "Penguin announces bid for mayor," and it's
Penguin's
like
got a penguin.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all on the record. This is an interview.
Yes, exactly. And so it's like the plan becomes, okay, we got to turn Batman into a villain.
I also my favorite thing in this scene is that because it's just her makeup is just like white face with a smoky eye and a red lip and the mask. It's very simple. However, all of us halfway through the scene, her lipstick is smeared all over her chin because later in the scene she gives herself a bath where she licks her hand.
Yes,
and
the weirdest scene in the whole movie to me.
I was like, but no one in continuity was like, let me get some white powder. Let me get a little white cream to fix this. Maybe get a better lipstick. I don't know.
This is where we see the most obvious example of Danny DeVito, the Penguin here, being just like such a vile creep, like a full-on incel loser. Weirdo. And then she, kind of negotiates with him, like, I want Batman, yada, yada, yada. They go back and forth. And then she's like, I'll just give myself a bath. And he looks like ready to start tugging one out here.
He fully is.
Really, and it's just like, all right. If
that wasn't a one piece,
Tim.
He'd be slipping his hand down the waistband.
Like, all right, Tim. All right, we get it. Perhaps we move on. I know this isn't necessarily a children's movie, but it's pretty close.
Next, Selena and Bruce meet in public, and Selena makes a comment that they call this Catwoman 140 pounds because that's an egregiously large number for her.
Yeah.
Which, I have to say, as someone who playing the Batman video games, that's my favorite part, is every time you collect a character profile to read it, because they'll be like, Harley Quinn is 5'4" and 110 pounds. And I'm like, no, she's not. She is absolutely not that weight based on what it is. Poison Ivy is 6 feet, 125 pounds. And she isn't. Not with those boobs. Not with that butt.
Yeah, for sure. The Penguin is like taunting Batman, like trying to goad him into coming to the tree lighting that they were holding again. Meanwhile, the Penguin busts into the dressing room of the woman who will do the tree lighting.
The Ice Princess. I love her.
There's a very funny sequence where she's like, and now we light the tree. Or push the button, then I say, now we light the tree. No, wait. Oh, it's the other way. Okay.
The tree lights up, and then I push the button. No, wait a minute.
Yeah. And I just love that little bit of comedy there. She gets kidnapped, and they frame the Batman for it, which later pops up in a really great way where Pat Hingle
is on TV holding the evidence bag.
A bloody Batarang and being like, this is circumstantial evidence. It's one of Batman's gadgets covered in blood. We should
wait to announce to the public before we do a little investigation.
Yeah.
But Selena and Bruce are on like a date kind of thing at Wayne Manor. And then when they both want to leave,
the giant fireplace.
Yeah. But it's not a giant table this time. It's not soup at a giant table.
Yeah.
But they both need to leave to go deal with the Penguin thing, and so they both stammer to Alfred back to back of like, just say no, but don't make it sound, but say this. And Catwoman ends up saying, "Can you just make up a dirty limerick?"
Yeah. That leads into a funny suit up montage where Batman has his like perfectly laid out
0% chance that you're getting into a latex cat suit while you're driving. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It honestly was reminding me of the times where I would have to, like, I'd be going from football practice to a hockey game, and I would be putting on my hockey gear in the back seat of the car.
Yeah.
And I would be, like, fully dressing for hockey and, like, putting my rollerblades on, and then I would, like, open the back door of the car and skate into the arena, and then, like, the game would start.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do while driving, or as a passenger maybe, but, like, if you're driving, you're not getting into a latex cat suit.
She might be able to put the head part on.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because like I will say, when I was doing La Cage aux Folles, I would have to drive from work directly to rehearsal and be ready to get into paint my face, which means I had to glue down my eyebrows while I was driving. So I would have the seat heater going with the glue stick between my legs to warm up, and then at every red light I would be like boop, 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 pat 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 pat. There were just enough red lights for me to be able to cover my brows before I got to the theater.
Meanwhile, Batman gets to where all this chaos is happening, and he's like looking down to the city. It again just looks like a shot straight out of Metropolis.
Well,
just like a skyscraper view.
He goes to save the Ice Princess, and then Catwoman shows up and takes her to the roof. And as she's the Ice Princess is like, "Oh, I'll tell the police the truth," and she's standing on the ledge because she has no brain cells.
Yes, yeah.
And then
she's a very dumb character.
The Penguin throws an umbrella full of bats, I guess.
Yes, he has captured them and put them inside an umbrella.
And so she falls off the building onto the button that turns on the tree that there are bats placed in the tree that are now flying around.
And the Titans who are all around now all look very sad. Like the statues have changed to be sad in the moment. It's like a Doctor Who episode or something.
Also, the circus gang is tampering with the Batmobile.
Oh, right. Yeah, they have like a magic button that unhooks all of the CGI. Basically, the Batman like has a bunch of security measures built into this thing that like pop up as a push of a button. I feel like there was a joke about the club at one point in one of these movies. Do you remember the club, the thing you put on the steering wheel?
Oh, that does sound vaguely familiar.
I feel like I don't know if it's a commercial or if it's like a joke in one of the later Schumacher Batmans where there's like, I feel like a joke about the Batmobile and the club, but I thought it was here, but it's not. There's just all this, it's very early CGI, like stuff happening.
Catwoman comes back and fights Batman and they quip about the mistletoe. We get that real sexual lick.
Yes. This is where I wrote, this is so weird horny, because she like licks up his nose. It's like in the nostrils.
Well, it's his lips up, but he's got a weird mask
But she
on.
gets up in them nostrils, yeah.
And this is where we find out she literally finds Penguin and she's like, you didn't say you were gonna kill the Ice Princess.
Yeah. And he's like, it's the cost of doing business.
She rejects him sexually, so he tries to kill her with a helicopter umbrella.
Yeah. Penguin does not like being in the friend zone.
And she gets that great scream because she drops through a greenhouse and screams that shatters all the glass. And
she lands directly in Poison Ivy's house. It looks like.
A mob is going after Batman, and it's like, I don't think going after a superhero as a non-super person, like, we don't know that Batman doesn't have powers in this universe, right?
Right.
This could be a Homelander situation.
They also have the Batmobile all like rigged up to be able to be driven remotely, and the remote control for it is a kid's version of the Batmobile.
It's like the grocery store rides.
Yeah.
Which I think they had this. Because I think the Batmobile design was the same from Batman to Batman Returns.
Yeah, it was.
So I think this was just one of the grocery store Batmobile rides.
I sat in one, remember, when we went to Los Angeles?
Oh, yes. Yes.
They had all the free versions, and I rode a little kid ride, and it was like... And I was like, okay, I should get out of this. This is the Batman here experiences what it's like to drive a Tesla in 2025, where it's just completely out of your control and doing what it wants.
But don't worry, they have access to all of the video footage and can unlock your car remotely and all of these things.
Yes.
Don't worry.
I love, though, that his response is to casually punch a hole through the floor of the Batmobile, which is presumably like bomb reinforced because it's the Batmobile. Punch a hole and then like grope around.
He runs a diagnostic.
I know he knows where it is. It's just hilarious to me that there's not like a.
Well, he also thinks to record the video feed.
Yeah,
with
the CD. Batman pops in a CDR and is like, "This is going to be my new hot."
It's an interactive CD-ROM.
Also, the little video popping in of the Penguin being like, "Hold on for a ride of your life, Batman," is fully a theme park.
Oh,
thing.
yes, it is.
Just like, just
this would have been a great little ride.
100%, yeah, a little motion simulator.
Mm-hmm.
So he regains control after
so much great
a hole
practical
in the floor.
destruction, not sabotage.
Oh, sure. And then he comes to like a narrow thing that he can't get through, and so he just pushes a button and makes the Batman eject a bunch of its parts.
Yeah, I know jack all about cars, but how can that much of the Batmobile pop off and be fine?
No, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's just as dumb as when the tumbler in the Nolan Batmobiles, that's the name, by the way, it just came to me.
Tumbler, not Rumbler.
the tumbler. Remember the tumbler turns into the bat motorcycle?
No,
There's like a
they're
problem.
two separate things.
No. At one point the tumbler like is like incapacitated slightly, and what's his face Batman starts like punching buttons in, and then the tumbler like ejects a bike.
Oh, you're right. I just know that
The front part of it becomes a motorcycle.
That's right, because I just remember in the third one, Catwoman gets the bike.
Right.
Separate from the tumbler.
Yeah. Also, I wasn't really cognizant then, so maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like even in the 90s, you probably weren't going to get away with such an obvious orchestration of like chaos is sown and this person we've never seen before is now going to be replacing the mayor. That like those two things weren't connected to each other.
I mean, hey,
but maybe today,
who's to fucking say?
If this is set right now, I'm like, yeah, that checks out. That's exactly right. But if it was back then, I'd be like, I don't know if that would go down like
because
that.
people believe the audio recording and get mad about it.
Yeah.
In the real world, they'd be like, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was fucking Jimmy Stewart. It was the voice
I don't know either, but it's good. It's good.
As right wing nut job number 3, we get another entrance to the Batcave, which is reaching into the fish tank to open the doors of the Iron Maiden.
Yeah, which is fun. I like that. And then Keaton and Alfred with his little DJ headphones on, which is a fucking look.
DJ 4LF.
Yeah. They like intercept the signal at the Penguins rally he's holding, and they play the speakers of him being
the
like,
record scratch is so delightfully
city.
stupid.
Yeah, it's Keaton just going like, it's really stupid.
Everyone immediately turns on the Penguin, which isn't how the real world works, we know, and starts throwing things at him. Like lettuce and tomatoes and eggs.
Yes. And he runs away, and then a bunch of cops just start opening fire. Like, there presumably is like an arrest that should happen. No, they're just like, blam, blam, blam.
Him being
blam.
rude about the citizens of Gotham does not say, I have committed murder crimes.
Right.
He also, Penguin gets references, is like, why is there always someone who brings eggs and tomatoes to a speech?
Yes.
Penguin takes a dive into what presumably is a very shallow river.
Yes, yeah.
And this is where he reveals his plan to his henchmen about the firstborn sons of Gotham.
He's like handing out the pamphlets.
These are the collated. You get A through C, you get D through F.
Yes. And the one person who speaks up, he shoots and then just like pushes into the penguin pool. And then some of the penguins swim over, and I was like, are these like cannibal penguins? And the penguins mostly just
They wouldn't be
like,
cannibals. They'd be carnivores.
I'm sorry, carnivores. Yes, thank you.
He's
Sorry.
not a penguin.
Yes. Yeah, no, only the penguin is a penguin. But no, they don't eat the guy. They just like kind of look at him.
Also, we cut back to the Batcave, and Alfred goes, tonight is the party thrown by that odious Max Schreck. Should we RSVP in the negative? And I was like, shouldn't you have RSVP'd a while ago?
Weeks ago? Yes, not tonight. And then he's like, oh, Selena might be there. And so we cut to him at the party. And I don't know if you caught it, but the brass band, like violin or orchestra quartet, whatever they are here, the classical musicians are playing Rick James' Super Freak.
Oh, yeah. I did catch
Super Freak. I just thought that was fantastic.
So he and Selena are the only two people not in a mask at the masquerade ball. Because symbolism.
Yeah. And Selena is here to do the Luigi on Max.
She got a garter gun and she is ready, and I love a garter gun.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
sometimes killing immoral people is the answer, Batman. Sometimes.
Yeah, exactly, Batman. Come
Maybe.
on, Batman.
Do you know how many lives you could have saved if you killed the Joker?
Right.
If you just snapped that little neck, do you know how many people would be not dead?
Especially, even if you just waited till like the third time he broke out of prison to be like, you know what, I'm doing this incorrectly. I should change my methods.
Yeah. Do you know how people wouldn't have to deal with chronic pain and have to deal with medication and physical therapy for the rest of their life?
They end up explaining who they are to each other by accident.
Because they do the mistletoe quote again, and they're like...
Yeah, she says his line, he says hers, and they're like, do we have to fight now? Which I thought was pretty good.
And then we get a great explosion.
Really, really good. And in the ensuing chaos, he grabs Vincent Schiavelli, basically gets like the Penguin's plan all revealed.
Wait,
and
nope,
the bat.
well,
Nope, too far.
a little too far.
Okay, go ahead then.
Penguin tells everyone in the room the plan. He's like,
Oh, you're right. Sorry, you're right.
My
Yep.
gang is stealing your children right now, and not one person makes a move to run out of the room to like.
Nope.
Presumably, at least one of you lives a couple blocks away.
There's not even like the gasp sound.
There's a
piped
gasp.
in,
No,
you
the
know?
gasp sound is there.
The gasp sound happens, I thought, before that though.
No, I thought he says to your children, and they get the gasp.mp3.
Yeah, the 90s sitcom gasp.
But he goes to steal Max Shrek's son, and shockingly, Max Shrek is like, "Don't take him, take me."
No, Dad, I'll go.
So we cut to like the child catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang train going down the streets of Gotham.
Yeah. And it's Vincent Schiavelli driving it. It's all got like cars hooked up with children in it. And so Batman nabs him. Meanwhile, the Penguin is giving the Patton speech to a bunch of penguins from the movie Patton.
It's so good.
And he is like full on incel at this point.
Well, he hasn't done it yet because then the monkey returns with Batman stationery that says
right.
the babies
Yes.
aren't coming. F off.
Yeah.
And so now he's like, I'm just gonna blow up Gotham with you.
I think
penguins.
it says that the children regretfully will not be able to make it.
Yes, it is that.
So the penguins are all in their little bomb suits.
So
And it is a
cute.
buck wild number of penguin actors here between robots, penguins, and penguin suits on presumably little person actors.
Yeah. And there's a quick sample of Kidnap the Sandy Claus here. But also Batman is like, I don't know, fan boating his way down this sewer tunnel.
Yeah.
And the penguins are swimming under him, and they know A, how to do it, but B, to shoot at Batman.
Yeah. They're very smart birds.
Batman sends the penguins back to the Penguin. They're all gathering in Gotham Square and leave it, and then coming back. All the circus gang just nopes the fuck out of there, including the poodle lady who just disappears slowly.
Yeah, she sort of does like the Homer Simpson retract into the
into
hedge
darkness.
thing. I thought this setup here was going to be that like, oh, all of the bombs are right here, so you're not going to blow up all of your penguin minions in front of you. But no, they have a fight, and then as soon as he can get to that thing, if the penguin slaps that button.
Well, even Batman pulls up the detonator, and he looks around and sees he's surrounded by his penguins, and he says, "My babies." And I was like, weren't you going to kill him anyways?
Right.
You were going to murder them all.
It doesn't make a ton of sense, but he does smash that like button and then hit the notification bell.
And smash that subscribe button.
Launches a lot of bombs.
With some great explosions. Max Shrek tries to escape his cage, and Catwoman whip lassos him real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And then Batman comes down, and he's like, what are you doing? He'll be arrested. And she says,
Yeah.
the law doesn't apply to people like him. And I'm like, she's fucking right. The law will never apply to people like him. Stop
Also,
being a
you should
knob.
know this. You're Bruce Wayne. Like, duh.
Hey, Batman, maybe you should walk away for about 10 minutes and then come back
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, but instead he like tries to appeal to the inner Selena Kyle, and he rips the mask off, which looks buck
Like,
wild.
actually rips. Not like...
But like it begs the question to like, well, does he get into this thing as like one piece then? Jesus, what a terrible design.
Yeah, exactly. It is a terrible design. That's why he fixes it later. And like Selena fakes him out. She's like, "Oh, I want to live in your castle on the hill like a fairy tale." And then she scratches him and is like, "But I couldn't live with myself because she is for the people." Selena Kyle is for the people.
I also love when he rips the mask off that Walken's like, why are you dressed like Batman? And it's like, because he's Batman, you fucking idiot. What are you talking about?
And then he's goes,
very clearly confused.
Selena, you're fired. And it's like, hey, read the room, mon frere. Like, I don't think this is the space for that. Her whole death sequence is fantastic because she's cracking her whip and approaching him and like says like, I have 7 lives left because Penguin killed me, then Batman killed me, then Penguin killed me. Do you have enough in that gun to finish me off or whatever? Oh, no, you killed me. 3. And he had just shot at Batman, so no, he doesn't. And so he shoots her twice. She keeps going. He shoots her twice again, keeps going. And then click, click, click. And she says, 2 lives left. I'll save one for next Christmas. And then she tasers, grabs the giant like industrial electric cable and kisses him and just like fries his ass.
The two of them basically turn into skeletons, although it doesn't show it.
No, he gets shown. He kind of gets that Marv treatment from Home Alone.
Yeah,
2?
yeah.
1?
2, yeah. I think it's 2, yeah. Or the part in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles where they almost get crashed. The Penguin gets an excruciatingly long death.
Yeah.
It's just a long
It's a fake out.
Yeah. And then he dies, and then these penguins, which are clearly little person actors inside suits.
Or robots, maybe.
It could be robots. But they
Viking
drag him into the water. Yeah, but none of them touch him. He just kind of like he doesn't float, but he gets drug along like alongside them. As Bruce like kind of looks on and watches this, kind of confused. And then the last shot of the movie is Alfred driving him around in the back seat.
A year later, I think.
Oh, is it a year later? Okay. He's got Selena's cat, I think.
Well,
they're searching
he sees her reflection and then stops the car and finds the cat and picks it up.
Yeah.
And then gets back in the car and we see it like rises over the city of Gotham. We get the bat signal and then Catwoman's head rises, although it's a body double because Michelle Pfeiffer wasn't available. And
interesting.
And
Must have been reshoots then?
Yeah. We were fucking robbed. Like, we could have had Catwoman. We could have had more Catwoman.
Yeah. It is crazy that they didn't figure out. Did this make a lot of money? That's the one thing I forgot to look up.
I think it did.
All right, I'm going to try to do that real quick. Because I thought that this made big bucks, but
I thought it did.
That was something
I think
while I'm doing that,
I think the problem was that all the merchandising snafus really put a damper on things for a while for Batman. Because I think it was...
That makes sense.
I want to say it was like 3 years before there was Batman Forever.
Yes, yeah, it was 3 years. And then they had an all-new... It was new creative. I think that's when Schumacher jumps in and all that stuff. We should do final thoughts while I'm trying to look this up. So
I fucking love this movie.
Yeah.
It is essential queer viewing, but it's also just like a great movie. It's incredible performances.
I think this is a very interesting and good movie. I don't love it as much as Andrew, but it's definitely worth watching, especially if you haven't seen it. It is also just like a real delight to see. It looks like it made $266 worldwide, which in those days is huge, and $162 domestic on an $80 million budget. So it made money.
Although with Hollywood accounting, who knows if it made any money?
Oh yeah. I mean, it did make money, whether or not it was recorded or not. But yeah, I don't like it as much as Andrew. But like I said, it's just so much more fun to imagine like these big blockbusters getting made by people who have like creative choices to make. It's part of the reason I'm like, when Marvel kicked Edgar Wright off of Ant-Man, that was when I started being like, maybe I don't like this Marvel thing so much. And I think that was like the beginning of it for me, because like Edgar Wright getting to play in one of these sandboxes would be fantastic.
Well, even Sam Raimi. They got Sam Raimi to do what they said was going to be a horror movie, and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I like that movie because I love Scarlet Witch a lot, but like, come on.
And the Raimi Spider-Mans are fucking fantastic. Like, it's just full.
Well, the
of
third
him.
one,
it's just,
but the first two.
But even the third one is like glimmers of a guy who has a take, and instead of there being like a house style, and just, you know, even the DC movies are kind of subject to the same thing, I think. So we'll see what under James Gunn if it's any different, but it's just nice to see someone like this doing stuff like this. And I'm not even the biggest Tim Burton fan in the world, but this is an enjoyable movie and worth a watch. So that's what I would give it.
Good.
Thank you so much for listening. Check us out over on Blue Sky. We're dissecting the 80s. We'd love to hear from you there. We are no longer on X, or I guess we might still be vestigially on X, but try not to post there anymore. And we'll see about Facebook and Instagram, I guess. But find us on Blue Sky. That's where we're at the most.
Because I do not see a point of being on X anymore.
Indeed, despite the fact that we did have a following of a small variety there. And don't forget to check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/dissecting80s. Bonus episodes right away, full access to all the previous ones, plus the original 78 episodes of the show that we pulled down for audio quality if you're a completionist. That will do it for us. We'll be back in 2 weeks with Back to the Future 2. Thank you for joining us for Favorites February. I've been Tripp Lano.
I will always be Andrew Lano.
Until next time.
Don't you forget about me.
Dissecting the 80s is a Chum Some of This production. Ow.